All right, here at PCA 2025 with Founders Cigars. So we'll give Angelo a second here to take it away.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. We're Founders. So many people ask us how you got started. We don't have cigar backgrounds. I don't have a Cuban grandpa. This isn't a family business. But Brian and I, so Brian's, he was in the Air Force and now he's in Air Force Reserve. We were doing consulting in late 2019. COVID came around. We saw how the country was isolated. And I don't have to educate anyone on the veteran suicide rates. They're just an absolute abomination. And so we knew that because we were in the gun industry. So we had, in his military background, we knew a lot of people that have military backgrounds. But we saw that isolation is just a killer. And we saw that in COVID where so many people were isolated. So the anxiety, depression, so many of those things were running rampant. We decided to pivot and say, hey, how can we start something where we can just trick people into community? And so that's like our whole thing with our cigar company is, even behind us, it's the community of cigars built for community. It's how can we have a product? How can we have something that we just trick people into hanging out with someone else?
Nice.
So that's really how we got started. And then since then, it's just been a great time of learning the industry. We treated it like a business problem. What are we missing? How do we accomplish that? How do we move on? But now we're learning, I would say, just more like kind of the heart behind the industry where, it's such a community-based industry where there's so many brands here that I've gotten to know over the years and that are willing to help. They want to help. If you have an issue, I know that there's so many people here that I can call up and say, hey, how did you get past this? Or what did you do to do this? And, so that's been really unexpected, especially coming from the gun industry. The gun industry is just not the same way. There's so many cutthroat backstabbing. Which it's so different here. So, that's been our experience. And now just we're too stubborn and we're too stupid to go away, so we're just playing the long game and just showing up and doing the boring things consistently. It's, there is no easy button, there is no home run to build a brand and to grow this, but it's just you got to keep doing the same thing. You got to keep being consistent. You got to keep showing up, and then eventually you're going to be that 10-year overnight success.
Of course.
So,
and if you do something that you love, that's the key.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things too where I've got 4 sons. Brian's a family man too. He's got 3 kids. And my 11-year-old was telling my wife, I bet the other night, she's like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Maybe you should be a pilot, do something like that. And he's like, I want to work at Founders with Dad.
Nice.
And I never, because in 2021, I basically just used child labor. Just brought the kids into the office, because they're not going to school. They've got some,
learn some life skills.
Yeah, they got some bullcrap YouTube video they got to watch and check off a box with a T-shirt. I'm like, all right, kids, we're going to pack cigar boxes. So just did a lot of that. And I brought the kids to the office the other day to see, I was picking up all this stuff to come to the show. And my 7-year-old, he was 4 at the time. He's like, Dad, do you remember when we used to come in here and pack cigar boxes? Like, yes, that was awesome. I love that. So just having that, having that now that I can bring my kids into and show them the ropes and the business side of everything. So that's been really rewarding.
That is cool. So they'll be the ones sitting here in 10 years saying this was a family business.
Exactly.
So what do we got sitting behind us? Why don't you give us a little rundown here?
Yeah, so we've got 5 blends in a single size. So 6x50 Toro.
Nice.
We kind of lay them out in strength. So we've got a Candela, we've got a Connecticut, a dual wrap. The dual wrap is our Connecticut and our Maduro, a Habano and a Mexican San Andreas Maduro. So
nice.
We blend with Tabacalera Las Lavas. That's the brand Casa Cuevas. That's their home factory. They've owned the factory for 50 years. They've been a brand for 30. It's one of those families that, they were kicked out of Cuba by Castro. It's just, they're a very old family in the industry, and it just have been just an absolute dream to work with. And so, the cigar lineup has been really fun to curate and just see how people respond to them. And we've got a cult following with our Candela, and our dual wrap's like a sneaky bestseller for us. I think it's because a lot of people don't see a dual wrap, and then it's such a well blended cigar that they keep coming back to it. So just the cigar side of things has been a really cool experience getting into that and just learning the ropes on navigating blending and presentation and just all the things you wouldn't think going to a cigar.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. And it's veteran owned, started business, so that's huge.
Yeah.
Do you guys do any kind of veteran charity work with
ironically, one of the things that we have here, you know, Operation Cigars for Warriors, we have some custom cigar boxes for those guys. You know, we don't have a dedicated, like, oh, for every sale it goes here, because we work with so many. We've done, you know, Operation Cigars for Warriors, Stogies for Servicemen, Hometown Heroes Outdoors. We've done some guide dog things.
Nice.
So there's just so many different things that we have tried to get involved with. And really, we have a custom gifting and we have a custom fundraising program that we can provide to charities. So that's been something that's been really helpful, just helping other people raise money and raise awareness. So, you know, custom cigar boxes are cool. And custom cigar boxes with a logo on it or a project on it that you are passionate about, like that's really special.
I agree. Well, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, your website, your socials, and then we'll get out of your hair so you can make some sales.
Yeah, so honestly, I always tell people the best thing, for sure go to my website, foundercigarco.com. You know, we have a retail presence there, so anywhere in the country you can buy our cigars. The most impactful thing is go into your local stores and ask about us. It seems so dumb, but I can't tell you how many times I've called the shop and, like, you know, I'm introducing myself to the shop. It's like, oh yeah, hey, actually, some of my regulars have been asking about you. Yeah, why don't you send some stuff in? And nice. it just makes us so much more of a soft handoff almost when you guys are asking about it in your stores. So that goes such a long way. Support your local brick and mortar. But check us out on Instagram and online.
100%. All right. Well, we're out. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.